Star Wars on Starfield. The Genesis project has brought Star Wars to Starfield. Should you try it? Hello everyone, this is Richard. Welcome to Starfield Essentials! The Genesis project, led by modder DeityVengy, recently released version 6 of their Star Wars conversion kit for Starfield. I call Genesis a conversion kit and not a mod because it so thoroughly alters the game. It also has a complicated and specific installation method. I will discuss that shortly. In this video, I will share how I set up the project for Starfield, some of what I found, and some thoughts on this experience. First, compatibility. Genesis v6 is specifically for PC, and supported only for the Steam installation. Genesis v6 works on Starfield 1.13.61, released on August 20th. Genesis v6 is not explicitly compatible with the most recent Steam beta, version 1.14.68, that Bethesda released on September 17th. As I'm recording this, we are 1 week away from the release of Shattered Space. Genesis v6 will not be compatible with Shattered Space. Perhaps Genesis v7 or later will be compatible. So, if you want to try Genesis v6, be sure you are running 1.13.61 and take steps to prevent Starfield from updating. Second, setup. I play Starfield on Xbox, Xbox for PC, Steam for PC on Windows, and Steam for PC on Linux. To make the Genesis installation as clean as possible, I bought a brand new copy of Starfield when it was on sale via Humble Bundle this month. I created a new Windows user, a new Steam user, a new Nexus Mods user, and a new Bethesda user specifically for Genesis. I do not expect anyone else to do the same. For me, however, these steps enable easier troubleshooting and play across multiple platforms. Genesis requires almost 200 mods hosted on Nexus Mods. Downloading each of them individually is possible, but tiresome. It is much easier to subscribe to Nexus as a premium user and download in bulk. I already have a premium membership for my primary Starfield play. I bought a month of a second premium membership for Genesis. Again, this is my process and is not necessary. The benefit for me is that my download history for my primary Nexus Mods account remains mainly associated with my normal Starfield account. The download history for my new Nexus Mods account is purely associated with Genesis. Next, installation. DeityVengy provides thorough and clear installation instructions on the Genesis Mod List website. Follow them to the letter and you should be okay. The key to this process is Wabbajack, an automated mod list installer. Packaged with Wabbajack is the Mod Organizer 2, or MO2, application. Basically, you use Wabbajack to download all the mods required for Genesis, and MO2 to manage them. It's pretty cool watching Wabbajack download everything in bulk. Remember, you need a premium Nexus account for this, but to me it's worth it. I use Vortex as my mod manager for my primary game, but I did not have any serious issues using MO2. One word of caution regarding MO2. The program looks for Starfield in a common location for Steam on your C drive. I had to manually point it to my second Steam installation and second Starfield installation to keep it from trying to manage my primary game. Beyond downloading mods, there's a recommended Starfield custom.ini and hotkeys folder to download and place in the appropriate locations. There are also suggested changes to gameplay settings to adjust once the game starts. Most importantly, turn up the music. When I started the Genesis game, the music volume was at 0. Turn it up and enjoy the amazing Star Wars soundtrack. Once everything is installed, you can start a new game. Genesis uses a modified version of SKK Fast Start New Game. You have the choice of different starting locations and loadouts. I haven't fully figured out the different gameplay options. In my regular Starfield games, I choose Option 2, which lets me avoid the main story and immediately recruit any of the 4 main Constellation companions. In my Genesis testing, I was only able to recruit Andreja. I will take a closer look at this in the future. On to first impressions. I emphasize these are first impressions because this conversion kit is so deep. In short, wow. The amount of replacement is astounding. There are recognizable Star Wars droids walking around. Alien races are everywhere. Buildings and world objects have been heavily modified. Vasco has been replaced by ND5 from Star Wars Outlaws. He looks so cool. The armor, weapons, and clothing is fantastic. The degree of customization is amazing. I recommend visiting the Project Encyclopedia to see all of the changes. For example, the moon of Vectera is now Kessel, because both have mines. If you want to find the Millennium Falcon, you might want to look at Kessel. To get a sense of the changes, check out the patch notes. Let's move past first impressions and talk about some deeper issues. If you run Genesis V6 out of the box as intended, it's a lot more than visual and audio changes. There are many mods packaged with Genesis that alter how the game plays. Some changes are small, like holding the sprint key or stick on controller to sprint. Others are fairly big, like lighting changes, replaced biomes, and overhauls to combat and other game mechanics. I tried playing Genesis in the default state, but I soon started making changes. I altered the Starfield custom.ini settings to basically match my original game, but I kept changes needed to run Genesis. I started removing mods that affected gameplay. I then added mods that I preferred, like The Gang's All Here and SKK ship management tools, and others profiled on this channel. With these personalizations, I started to feel more comfortable with Genesis. I was able to exercise the aspects of Starfield that I had grown accustomed to in the last year, while enjoying the stunning new environment. Speaking of the environment, for me the game became a bit too dark. I tried disabling the lighting overhaul mods, which I think helped. I might have to try reinstalling without those mods and see if there are bigger changes. The next version of Starfield will itself include lighting changes, so this will be an issue to follow for the coming weeks. Overall, I have barely scratched the surface with Star Wars Genesis V6. The team behind the mod is very active and continues making changes. They have replaced thousands of lines of NPC dialogue with Star Wars-themed content. It's truly remarkable. There's many ways to enjoy this conversion. So far, I have been playing in an open-world style, running around doing random missions and experiencing the environment. Perhaps after Shattered Space, I will try the core quests in Genesis. For example, the primary Constellation Artifact quest has been replaced by a Yuuzhan Vong invasion in Genesis. I am totally unfamiliar with this book series from the early 2000s, so I look forward to this conversion of the Starboard and Hunter Starfield story. I am really excited by this project. I will probably play it a bit more in the days leading up to Shattered Space. Once I've played through Shattered Space on my normal game, I will return to Genesis and try some of the quest content. Should you try Genesis? My answer is yes, with a few considerations. First, you need to be playing the Steam version for PC. I'm not sure there will ever be an Xbox version. There seems to be a lot going on here, and I don't see how the Xbox would manage all of the changes needed for this conversion. Second, the more you mix and match mods with this project, the greater the likelihood you will break something. With the new Steam beta, Bethesda seems to have fixed the mod index limit problem. This was an aspect of the creation engine which in effect limited the mod count to around 100 or so mods. Even with this restriction removed, the more changes you make to Genesis, the more likely you will introduce a conflict. Personally, I enjoy tinkering with Starfield, so I will continue making changes to suit my interests. If you are not willing to tolerate some possible issues, I recommend running the Genesis project as designed. What do you think of Star Wars Genesis version 6? Will you give it a try? What do you think about Star Wars themes at all? As much as I enjoy Star Wars content, I have to admit that I'm still a Starfield fan at heart. I look forward to Shattered Space and future Starfield DLCs. If you made it to this part of the video, leave a comment saying Wookiee. Also, remember to ring the bell icon and select all notifications if you think Han shot first. If you'd like to hear my summary of all the Shattered Space news from Gamescom, check out my Starfield news playlist. My name is Richard. I will see you in the Starfield.